I'm Sheldon Baker, editor for Innovision Health Media and your host for Healthy Bytes. Today I have the privilege of talking with Dr. Joe Pizzorno, who is known for being the transformational leader in medicine. Through half a century of work, he has helped establish and advance the academic, scientific, and clinical foundation of natural, functional, integrative, and environmental medicine. As founding president of Bastyr University more than 45 years ago, he coined the term science-based natural medicine and led Bastyr to become the first ever accredited institution in the naturopathic field. Fast forward to today, Dr. Pizzorno returned as interim president of Bastyr University for the 25-26 academic year. He is also editor-in-chief of PubMed Indexed IMCJ, the most widely read peer-reviewed journal in its field. He is also a founding member of the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians and board of directors for the Institute of Functional Medicine, where he has served 3 terms as chairperson. Dr. Pizzorno, great to see you again.
Great to see you as well, Sheldon. Thanks for that kind introduction.
You bet. I trust all is well now at Bastyr. Why did the university trustees ask you to come back as interim president?
So I left this institution in the year 2000 in very good shape, accredited by everybody possible. And we just talked the Pope into selling us the campus for half its value, and money in the bank. It's doing very, very well. I decided I was done being college president. I want to get back into the medicine, which is what my true love is. And as you know, I've been studying environmental medicine very, very deeply for the last 20 years. Unfortunately, the recent people came after me, from my perspective, didn't do a very good job. And in the last spring, the then president announced that they were going to be selling the campus in order to deal with the huge debt load. So the community was upset about this. And so a group called the Friends of Bastyr got together, and they recruited alumni, donors, et cetera, about 600 people in total, went to the board of trustees and says, you can't sell the campus, this beautiful 51-acre campus surrounded by 400 acres of state park. I mean, it's just a wonderful environment. You see the picture in the background. It's just a wonderful place. And talked to the trustees and said, okay, we have to make a change in leadership. So what we found when we got here was the institution had lost $14 million in the previous 3 years. They were in default on the bank loan for the campus. They had $2.5 million in accounts payable, 90 days old. The Department of Education was so concerned about our status that they required a $15 million line of credit in order to give us financial aid. And we had a show cause order from the accrediting people for why we shouldn't lose our accreditation because we're in such bad financial shape. So that's what we found when we came. Somehow we've straightened things out. Very clearly, the community loves Bastyr, but no longer trusted the leadership. So somehow we raised $3 million. We got a local woman from the community to come and buy our loan from the bank and give it back to us at half the interest rate with no principal due for 6 years. We got the show cause order lifted because we got the finances strengthened by cutting $2.5 million in salaries. We just step by step fixed all the problems. Now we're not out of the woods yet, but we're now a thriving institution again.
So when you returned last July, did you think, what did I get myself into?
So that's a very good question, because it turned out a lot of the problems had not been revealed to me when I got there, and I kind of doubt that trustees knew how bad it was either. I think there was a challenge with understanding what was going on in the institution.
So the community has responded to new leadership, yes?
Yes, very clearly.
What would you say now are Bastyr's biggest challenges?
So I think Bastyr needs to rethink its foundational business model, just like all the colleges and universities have to in the country. Because we've been kind of dependent upon very large student loans be available for the students that come to us. So we have students graduating with $250,000, as much as $500,000 in debt. Well, first off, people don't tend to make a lot of money in natural medicine compared to conventional medicine. So we're graduating these students with all this debt. That was really hard on them. So the government, as you know, has decreased the student loans that are available. That means there's less students available. There's also this trend nationwide where there are fewer students enrolled in colleges across the nation. So a lot of colleges are having trouble. So we're going to see not only increased rate of colleges are closing right now all the time. We're going to see an increased rate of closure. So as I look at Bastyr, I realized we can't be dependent just upon student tuition. We have to embrace a bigger vision. So I've been looking at this idea. So we've got this beautiful 51-acre campus, again, surrounded by State Park, and it's just pristine in nature. Thinking, well, why don't we create something I'm calling the Bastyr Healing Village? So we've got all these various groups who've been looking to either buy land from us or lease facilities from us. And I asked them, well, why do you want to come buy our facilities and such? They said, well, because we want to be part of a healing environment. So for example, the state of Washington wants to buy one of our dorms as a transition place for women who are victims of violence. We have another group that wants to set up a daycare for seniors with memory problems. And so the family would bring them onto campus. Teaching clinic is right next door to the dorms. And we'll say, okay, most of the neurological damage people have experienced, most of the dementia is due to neurotoxins in the environment. Well, bring your loved one here. We'll assess their body load of neurotoxins, get the neurotoxins out of them, and help them be healthier. Then we've got another group, we've got an autistic group wants to join us. And I mean, just lots of these various groups. I'm thinking, okay, let's embrace this concept. You come here, when you have really hard problems, come here and we'll help you out. We're going to have an inpatient fasting facility, for example, where people can come for a week, even 30 days, to do pure water fast to detoxify and get healthier. So there are a lot of these things I'm looking at doing. So we'll become kind of the healing community where education is an important part of what we're doing, but it's not the only thing we're doing.
Did you have to lay off people? And today, how large is the faculty?
So we did lay off people. We'd lay off about $2.5 million in salaries, but they were almost entirely upper level expensive administration. We didn't lay off faculty. But one thing we also learned was that as leadership was being clearly shown to be failing, the faculty lost trust in leadership. And so the response, the way that was handled was by creating all these committees, committee after committee after committee. So if you want to do anything else, go through 4 committees. We're going back to say, hey, faculty, I think you can trust us now. Your primary job is teaching. Let's start cutting these committees. So I want to get rid of 75% of the committees because they're just redundancy. They're just people saying, we don't trust other people, so we want to be involved in the decision. Well, you got to trust other people. We each have our roles. So my hope is that as we decrease the committee load on faculty, we can not only pay them more, but they can then be focused on what the primary purpose is, teaching the next generation of leaders.
What is the size of student enrollment today?
So when I left in 2000, it was 1,200. It's now down to 705. So it's dropped quite a lot.
So there's great interest in becoming a naturopathic doctor.
So there's definitely interest there, but it's not as strong as when I was here last time. But also when I was here last time as president, I was spending 25% of my time doing media work, like interviews with you. I would do it with then it was mainly radio shows and magazines, newspapers, and such. But I was doing a lot of talking. Well, there's been no naturopathic doctor as president since I left, so there's nobody that could actually speak to the media in a way as authoritatively as I could. So now that I'm back, I'm doing more of these media activities to educate people about the school. I mean, being a naturopathic doctor is a wonderful career. Being a nutritionist is a wonderful career. Acupuncturist. We have a lot of these wonderful natural medicine careers that people need to know about.
What is your hope for the future of Bastyr, and how long do you plan to stay in your present role?
So I'm done as president at the end of June. I'm agreed to come back for 1 year. And while people want me to continue on, yeah, that'd be great. But the problem is, I'm an older guy. It's too much work. Okay, we need a full-time president. I can't and don't want to keep this up. But I will continue to be involved. We're looking at creating a new position. We're defining as chancellor. My job will be continue to fundraising, look at future opportunities, fundraising, help make sure the school stays on track. But I would all the authority and administrative responsibilities would be with the president.
And then other than Bastyr, what else do you see yourself doing?
Well, yeah, I continue to be involved with IFM. I love doing that work, teaching. I love being editor-in-chief of IMCJ. Now as you know, we have Dr. Christy O'Donnell taking on the journal peer review process, so all I'm doing is writing editorials. But I love writing the editorials because what I do with these editorials is that I go back and look at age-old naturopathic concepts in light of current research. So, for example, I just finished an editorial, be out pretty soon, where I looked at something that's called pancreatic exocrine insufficiency. So that is the pancreas not producing enough enzymes to digest food properly. Now, this has been an important concept in natural medicine for most of the last 100 years, kind of poo-pooed by conventional medicine. Now the research is out, and it turns out 20% of people over the age of 50 have pancreatic insufficiency, so not digesting the food properly. So I love look at these old concepts and bring it forward. I continue to teach, lecturing all over the world. I've got invitations from India, from Germany. Actually, I have 2 invitations from India now, in Germany, and just all the world. People want me to lecture to doctors, and I like doing that as well.
Dr. Pizzorno, thank you for leading the team at Bastyr and joining me here today on Healthy Bytes.
Thanks for the invitation, Sheldon, for what you're doing to educate people about our important work.
And thanks to all of you for watching Healthy Bytes.